Okay, last night was a disaster with uploading this information. Not anybody's fault. I spent a huge amount of time on it. I thought it was working really great, and it was. The problem, the reason why you weren't able, for the most part, to upload if you had trouble, was because all of you were doing screenshots of your assignment, which is what I asked you to do. But the problem is when you do a screenshot, it saves as image.jpg. Which meant they all had the same name. So when, say, Allie uploaded hers, and Raiders was already there, it just replaced Raiders. And then Nolan uploaded his, and so all I kept seeing all night, and I watched this all night, was one. Like, why is there just one? But it was always a new name, so I couldn't figure out why it was changing. There's no way for you to name, would you do me a favor, Dan, and just sit over here for today? Just go with me. Thank you, Daniel. So that was the problem. So I only have one from each class. This is important. The reason I did this was because we're going to use Google Docs with the research paper when you submit documents. So I don't have to get 78 emails about with things that then I have to upload, then I have to access. This will be kind of a dedicated spot for us to save things. You've used Google Docs before. Google Docs is great for collaborative projects where you all are inputting and editing and adding and proofing and things like that in the same document. This is different. Here you upload something and nobody else can touch it. No, I mean, we can read it, but we can't change it. And so, like when you're in your peer editing group and you're going to add, let's say you all have to submit your introductory paragraphs, you're going to upload your introductory paragraphs to our Google Drive, and then your peer editing group can access them really easily, and they don't have to follow trails of emails, because I know some of you still aren't even using your email addresses here, although you should be using it. So this is what I need you to do. I need you to go to the link, either the link I sent you or your Google Drive, and pull up our English 10X Google site, our Google site. And I'm going to show you how to make this better, easier, whatever. And if the phone rings while we're doing this, I'll apologize, but just you can catch it. Nice, isn't it?
No, my iPad is frozen.
Turn off.
What's this
It
one?
won't.
Oh, I couldn't.
It's the Google site.
I couldn't this in
I mean, you don't need that notability, you just need those things.
Is it what you can note to us?
Yeah, so you can follow the link through the email address. Can you guys not go to Google site and pull it up? You probably don't know how to do that, do you? We'll work on that, because you'll need to do that. Oh!
Thank you.
Please go to the website.
Yeah, follow the link that I sent you.
So did you not get mine?
I'm sure I did, but then someone else pushed it out, so.
Oh, yeah, somebody came in and got it.
So, I don't want you to go ahead, but I do need everyone to be on the same page, literally. So,
I'm not there.
who's not here yet?
Me, because my iPad is frozen.
Well, that you're special.
Mine was.
Go ahead, it's because you're seeing everybody else's, so you can close out that. No. Go down to the bottom.
Alright.
You're seeing everyone else who's submitted stuff. You want to open up Penguin paragraph period 6. Do you like the alliteration? I like it. So, open up Penguin paragraph period 6. So you can see Caroline's was the last person to submit hers. It probably tells me a time if I looked at it. How many of you actually submitted yours at one point? Yeah. So hers was the last one called image, so it pushed out all the other ones called image. So, oh well. This is what you're going to do, and this is, you just want to know this process. You'll make mistakes, it's okay, but this is practice for when we start submitting things. Do you see the page up here little page page with the plus on it? Does everyone see it at the top right-hand side of the page?
Yeah.
Yes? Everyone
Oh,
sees that?
yeah.
Click it.
Yes. Okay, click it, yes. Select that. Select that. And you should end up with a page that looks like this. I want to make a comment to you guys, and I hope this will be something that's helpful to you for the rest of your life in academics. When you send a document to people, I'm going to give the example of those of you who have been comp right now. I got all these emails from students with their comp letters, and they all call them letter. So now I have 32 documents called letter, and I have no idea to whom which letter belongs. When you're sending a document to a teacher, or really even anybody, you should name it whatever the assignment is, whatever that teacher tells you, and then you should at the end of it put your last name. That way the teacher knows which document belongs to which person. So for me, from now on, anytime you email me something, make sure your last name is on it. So you're going to create a page. So for this, call it Penguin. And then I like underscore. You don't have to. I don't think you have to underscore anymore. You can just have a space. But so call it Penguin, and then please put your last name.
Can you do the penguin emoji?
Louder.
Can we do the penguin emoji?
I don't know. I don't think it'll work. Will it?
It did.
It was what?
Cole McAdoo did it.
Of course, Cole did. The goofball. Okay, so you've named your page. Now, you want to make sure your page is under the assignment and not an independent page. And you're going to see someone on the list put theirs, it didn't fit under the assignment. So, down here where the little dot is, put page under Penguin paragraph period 6, please. So you select that. And when you're done, you've got that selected, you've got your name in there, press create. And you're going to see, Noah got there first, good job. Didn't know it was a race.
It let me.
This will start populating. We'll start in a minute. I'll start seeing everybody's names. Don't worry if it's not there. Now the important part is, listen. The important part is, here you've got your name. I'm Sample, and then you've got a box. When it's kind of like Turnitin.com from the iPad, you have to cut and paste. You can't upload a file. This is so much easier when you have a computer because you just go down there and you press add file and you add the document. You can cut and paste. So if you did this, it won't work for us because what's important to me for this assignment is the colors, what you did. Colors don't go into this. But in most cases, you'll type your document in Pages or Notability or Word or whatever you're doing. You'll copy it, and then you'll just paste it right in here. Formatting changes, I don't care. I could care less about formatting like this. For our purposes, you go to that screenshot that you took, press your finger. Well, first of all, I think you can just go to Add Files, and you should just be able to add that image to your page. It's not to it won't push out anybody else's. So go ahead and add your image to that page. Press Add File.
Go to your page.
Under the page you just set up. I mean, that's where you want to be. And I have no idea because you should be added to it. So let me see. I'm sending it again. I don't know if that you try a new link, see if that'll work. Did you have a question?
No, I got it.
You got it figured out. Did everyone get it? To
Yes,
add the
yes.
file?
It's still creating the page.
Okay. But for text, you're gonna wanna, from the iPad, go copy and paste. If you're working from a computer, you can just do add file and then you can add it that way. The nice thing about this is that you can see, for example, here's my Penguin paragraphs. I can see all of them. They're all there. Oh, he does have his little nice little, so they're all there, and it's easy for me to access it. And then I don't lose it, it's not lost in my email, I don't delete it accidentally.
I know the
If you've uploaded it, it's, let's see. Aha, multiple. Here's that card. Everyone see their name? Yeah, Daniel's here. Looks like everyone's there. Okay, yes.
Why doesn't it work?
Well, of course I can.
It's
Okay, I'll send it to you again. Is yours working now? Have it all
Yeah,
written.
that's why.
Never mind. It says
What
all
did it say, open apps?
Yep, you're there. And see, the other thing I like about this is that for the most part, except for a couple of you ding-dongs at the top who used emojis, it's in alphabetical order. So then I'm not going through all these things. It's easy for me to quickly look and see who submitted and who didn't.
Really fast, your iPad.
Okay, good. You all know how to do it. You'll forget it, but we're gonna do this every time you submit a, every time we peer edit something. So when you have to turn in your introduction, in addition to bringing me a hard copy, you're gonna submit it, upload it here. You'll do the body, you'll do your conclusion, anything that your peers have to look at. And they can look at it at their leisure when they're supposed to. Awesome. Okay, so, the research paper. Monday, we will be in the computer lab. No, we don't have a computer lab here at Cathedral anymore, for the most part. We're gonna be in the library. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We will be in the Baker boardroom. You know where that room is? That's that room in the corner with the glass. We will be there. And I did that for the first time last year. I really liked it because students could set up their iPads, put their books someplace. The library gets so crowded sometimes it's ridiculous. And you can have a place that's quieter and go work, but you can go over and you can use the computer, you can use the databases if you want to. You can use, you're gonna have to look for a book. Everyone's gonna have to use one real live book in your paper, on your works cited page. So you're gonna have to look through the stacks to see what they have that you can use. One of the days, I think it's Tuesday, there's a meeting in the boardroom, so our class won't actually be able to be in there, we'll just have to be in the library, but it's okay, I'm not worried about it. Monday, when you come to class, you are going to bring with you your poem. How are you doing? You're going to bring with you, Noah, your poem that you have selected. You are going to bring your completed TPcast document. I'm going to go over all this in a minute. And you're going to bring your set of 3 colored note cards. Now, I do not want you each to go out and buy 100 note cards of 3 different colors. Talk to somebody else, share, but don't everyone buy white because that doesn't end up with 3 different colors. Don't end up with 3 different colors. What are you going to do? Well, I have a poem to share with you from my all-time favorite poet, Billy Collins. Billy Collins is a 2-time poet laureate of the United States, which is a pretty prestigious honor. He, if you remember, is the poet that you heard recite his poet, The Names, on the anniversary of 9/11. Do you remember that? The really cool poem where he talks about the 26 birch trees by the river, and then he proceeds to use a name of someone who died in 9/11 in alphabetical order. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's awesome. So this is favorite Billy Collins poems. Where is it? And this is a poem of his called Introduction to Poetry. And you don't have this. It was not in that list of stuff I asked you to download. I asked them to take a poem and hold it up to the light like a color slide, or press an ear against its eye. I say drop a mouse into a poem and watch him probe his way out, or walk inside the poem's room and feel the walls for a light switch. I want him to water ski across the surface of a poem, waving at the author's name on the shore. But all they do is tie the poem to a chair with rope and torture a professional. They begin beating it with the hose to find out what it really means. This is the tendency people have with a poem, is to not really understand it, but to try to force it into rules. And I'm a rule follower with poems. I like my stanzas to be so many lines long. I want punctuation to be accurate. I will tell you his punctuation is spot on here. There's nothing wrong with his punctuation. But what about his stanzas? They're all different. In fact, I just bought one of his books, his newest book of poetry, and every poem he writes, his stanzas are all over the place, which makes me a little wiggy. So we've got 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, no particular order to it, but there is. What is the order of the stanzas? Why does he have some 3 lines long? Why does he have some 2? Why does he have some 1? He doesn't care. Wrong. Nice try though. Why? None are 4 lines long. Yep. He rarely writes a poem that's 4 lines long. There's a reason. What are you guys doing in your iPads? Are you doing anything? Grace, why are these stances the one they are?
I was going to say that the compound sentences, but that's
There are a lot of conjunctions in here. Conjunction, conjunction, conjunction. I mean, yeah. So there's compound ideas. Yes, I'll give you that. What else? Catherine. What's this line about? Okay, are there any other lines in there that are about a beehive? No?
It's because each of the stanzas is like a different metaphor.
Each of the stanzas is a different metaphor. Yep. So when he finished the metaphor, he finished the stanza. So even though the stanza, there's no end mark here, the end mark is down here, but each stanza is its own particular idea. So what you're going to do, and this is great, I mean, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 metaphors in this poem that all add to our understanding, and they're all, except for Ellie, beating people with a hose, they're all things we would understand. You're going to choose a poem this weekend. This is going to take you, Noah, probably about 2 hours. Have I given you much homework in the last couple of weeks? Have I given you much homework in the last couple of weeks? No, I have not. Ellie?
Could you name the authors one more time?
I'm going to do one more time.
How's this going to take us 2 hours to find a poem?
Yeah, I'm really confused by that. They couldn't say.
Because you're going to read through the poetry and find something you like.
Are they like, what if I just find something I like on the first one?
Good, then you have
That's
another
my
couple more
question.
things you have to do with it.
Ah.
So, in doing this assignment, there's a document that I asked you to download called, maybe the steps. Step 1. Okay, see, sometimes I'm logical. Step 1. So the first thing you are going to do this weekend is choose a poem. These are your three poets. Emily Dickinson, she was a transcendentalist. She was a recluse, never married, hardly ever left her house or her farm, probably. Lived with her brother and his wife most of her life. When she died, they found thousands of poems that she had written in a box at the foot of her bed. No one had any idea. No one had any idea that she wrote that kind of poetry. Some of you are going to be drawn to her poetry because it's short. Wrong reason to be drawn to her poetry. She wrote, I can't remember, 1,600 or 2,600 poems. Some of them are 3 or 4 or 5 lines long. Others are 20, 30 lines long. Please do not select your poem simply based upon the length of the poem. Just because it's short doesn't mean you understand it any better or that there's enough criticism out there for it. So, Emily Dickinson. Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes is an African-American, wrote in the late 1800s, early 1900s, lived in Harlem. He has a poem called Harlem. He's a Harlem Renaissance poet, writes about the condition of the black man living in America in the 1910s, 1920s, 1930s, pre-World War, post-World War I, post-Depression era, kind of. His poetry, it's been, if you're someone who's a musician, Grant, who else is a musician? Who likes music? Okay, good. His poetry has a very definite melody to it. And he works at that. It's reminiscent of the Jazz Age, because that's the time he was living in. So some of you might be drawn to that kind of poetry. Robert Frost is our most current poet. He's a modern, yes, he's dead, but he died in 1963. He was a poet laureate like Billy Collins. He wrote an inauguration poem for John F. Kennedy. He writes a lot about nature, but always brings man into nature. Some of you might be drawn to his works. His works, birches, mending wall, better fences make good neighbors. Have you ever heard that phrase before? Comes from our thoughts. 2 words diverge into a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. Oh my goodness, yes. So some of these books, some of his poems are alluded to often. Same with Langston Hughes and same with Emily Dickinson, which is why we choose them. So you can go to these 3 sites. They have listings of their poetry. Poem Hunter is a good one. Poetry Foundation is actually based here in Indianapolis. It was started by Ruth Lilly, one of the Lilies. It's a very good site, and poets.org. They should all have brief bios there and then rather complete listings of their poetry. I would tell you that if you choose a poem that's not on one of these sites, you're probably going to have trouble finding criticism for it. Joe, do you have a question? No, you're stretching. You are welcome to shoot me an email this weekend and ask me if the poem you're choosing is a good one, if it works. Every once in a while, I have someone that's really determined to write on a kind of an obscure poem, and they find out pretty quickly there's not a lot of criticism on it. Doesn't mean you can't write a good paper. It just means you have less to work with. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to do. When you do this, do me a favor, because I live with one of you at home, so I know what you're like. Turn off messaging, turn off Twitter, turn off Facebook, unplug from social media, and spend some time reading poetry. That's especially important for those of you who are groaning at the thought of reading poetry. I know you're there. I can see you squirming in your seats. But if you keep getting distracted, you're not going to hear the rhythm of the poet, and there's a rhythm to what they write. That's the first thing you're going to do. Then, when you finish it, you're going to annotate the poem to the best of your ability. You're going to annotate that poem, and you're not going to go to any electronic site to give you help with it. You're going to use your own brain power to do whatever you can. Some of you, it may not be very much. Some of you may not be able to do a thing to it. That would maybe indicate you should go look for a different poem. I am not walking you through this process because potentially I have 78 different poems that people are choosing. Rather than me saying, you're writing about JFK's speech. I'm letting you choose what works best for you. Then you, and I've already asked you to download the TPCast document. That should be there. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to go through, and I want you to fill this out because you will bring this to me on Monday. Where is this? Back close it. TPCast, this is something AP uses a lot, AP Lit. So you go through and you think about the title. Type something. Please type, don't write. Use Notability. Put in Notability and type it. I read much faster than some of your awful handwriting, which I know my handwriting's not all about it. So title, then paraphrase in just a sentence or two. What do you think your poem means? Connotation, look at the form, the diction, imagery, point of view, things like that. What's the attitude of the speaker of the poem? What kind of shifts are there in there? Think about what that word even means. And what do you think the title means and what does the theme mean? Yes, there are themes to poetry. There's always a theme to anything that you read that is literary in nature. So you're going to type this out and bring it in. You are also going to retype your poem. You're going to retype your poem exactly the way the poet presents it. Why would I ask you to do that? So you have a copy? Absolutely. Yeah, I can't tell you how many people end up with no copy of their poem. Why else would I have you do this? Michaela. Yeah. Makes you familiar that, oh yeah, here's punctuation. Here's a line break. Makes you maybe start thinking, why is the poet doing that? What is the purpose behind it? Noah, wake up. So, what are you going to bring to me on Monday?
A copy of your poem, this little thingamajig.
TPCast.
TPCast. I'm going to bring the 3 note cards.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's about all.
That's
attitude.
about it. And a good attitude. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Miss Browning, this is looking really shabby.
Yeah, RT.
It is. We're spending, Noah, wake up.
Come away.
Okay, open your eyes. 4.5 weeks on this.
Guess
So,
I
what?
don't know if I can, my patience will allow me to sit through 2 hours of reading poetry. I might.
it may not take you 2 hours. This whole process will, though, I think, to fill out the TPCast, to find the poem, retype it, and fill out the TPCast, I think it'll take you, I would say, give yourself 2 hours. Don't start this at 10 o'clock Sunday night and think you're going to get done quickly. You're not.
There's a poem by Langston Hughes, and it's 4 lines long. And it says, here I sat with my shoes mismated, lauding mercy, eyes frustrated.
Yeah, go ahead, Ellie. Feel free.
I'm not going to do it.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, some of
found
these
my
poems are
poem.
really short.
I found my poem.
How should?
Some of these are short. Kara.
Is it going to be hard to write this paper if you pick a poem that's really well known and there's a lot of criticism?
No. No, I'm going to show you why. So I need 3 volunteers. All right, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Come on up, guys. Doesn't matter. You're blue. He's a blue note card. You're a purple
I'm
note
red.
card.
I'm red.
You're red. Okay. So, remember the 3 note cards that you have? This is what we're doing with them. This, you are my primary source. My primary source is 1 note card. My primary source is the poem. You're going to write your poem, each line of your poem, on 1 note card. I can't tell you how many times people write about their poems in a research paper and never even mention the poems specifically. They don't use the text for the poem. So, 1 note card is going to be this. Your secondary source is literary criticism. Hold up your note. There you go. Your purple note cards. So you're going to go out and you're going to research all these experts and what they say about your poem. You're going to write that information down on your purple note card or whatever color it is. That's considered the secondary source.
I recommend purple.
What do you think this is?
Awesome note card.
Awesome. Good job. Your opinion can go in this paper, which is that TPCast. You're going to say, okay, this is what I think the theme is. this is what I think he's doing with shifts in the poem. You're gonna have to think about those things, and you're gonna write those original ideas down on what color? Red. So, 3 different perspectives. You have the primary source, which is the poet in his original words. You have the secondary source, which is the critics in their words, and then you have your own ideas. You may sit down. Thank you. So, on Monday, we will be in the library.
We meet there?
Can you send us an email? Because I probably won't remember it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I will.
Primary, could you explain, did you say you write your whole poem on one note card, or?
No, each on one line. So that this, when you get done, you're gonna have 2 sets of note cards. You're gonna have one set of note cards, all the stuff you didn't use. You're gonna have another set of note cards, all the stuff you did do, and it should be some combination of those 3 colors.
So this is for Monday, like,
Oh, you're not writing anything yet. Don't worry about that. You're not writing anything yet. Now, we have 1 minute, right? Yeah. You uploaded everything?
Yes.
There were some that were just like a website.
And that's fine.
And it
There's
would-
more resources.
Okay.
I'm still talking. Gentlemen, ladies, there is one document on there that is not, that there is a picture of note cards.
That's the one that I was.
Yes. That you need. You're having a quiz over that on Tuesday. It is important to me that you know what information should go on your note cards and where it should go. So you can just screenshot that and put that in Notability.
Have a big day.
Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm not asking, I don't want the invitation. I want the TV cast. That'll help you with the TV cast. Yes. I had a lot of people absent today, so